6 o'clock by my clock, so we will call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. First order of business is to review the meeting minutes from last week. And if anybody has any questions or sees any changes that need to be made.
Public comment also. We don't have any, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And if there aren't any questions, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Take Mia as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. And on to the library director's report.
Okay, I know that it looks like we have a lot on the agenda, but it's actually not that bad, I don't think. But on the director's report, a couple things. We don't always get all of the stats before I have to get this online. So that's what the one asterisk means. So if you see any little discrepancies, that's why, because we had to add the stats after this was sent out or after the last one was sent out. However, the two asterisks, that's just me making a mistake. So I made a mistake on the outreach numbers last time, and these are the correct numbers. The year to date and the for both years, 24 and 25. We had our first literary ball, and I went. It was awesome because who doesn't want to wear a costume all the time? So basically it was for adults only, 18 and up, and people came dressed as their favorite literary character, and there were people representing independent bookstores actually in Central Texas, because I think we had one from Brenham here also. Music, snacks, crafts, dancing, etc. So everybody had a great time, and we probably will be doing that one again. It's after hours on a Friday, so y'all should come because it's really cool.
Did it already happen? Or?
It did in April. Yeah. With the Band Book Club, it's a program geared for seniors 55 and up, and it's essentially focusing on books that have been banned or challenged throughout history. It doesn't necessarily have to be the ones within the last year or two. There are some that make the banned book list every year, so it have for 30 years. So that's a new book. March was Fahrenheit 451, April was Their Eyes Are Watching God, and May is Just Mercy, and it's actually happening right now in another room. Baby Day is a mini conference for families with babies. It's the only statewide celebration of the first 3 years. So we had a number of organizations and group nonprofits here that deal with early literacy and engaging parents and caregivers with their children, and just giving that foundation of literacy at a young age. And does anybody have any questions on the report? The stats, I just sort of breezed past that, but they don't look bad. You know, search stats are always wonky, just because we never know if it's going to be physical up that month or electronic up that month. I'm hoping that it'll settle down into a pattern and it'll be more predictable. But the rest of them look pretty good. And again, I made a mistake on the outreach one, so it is now correct.
I do have one question.
Yep.
Is there any way that we could get a page with upcoming events for the future month? Because
Yeah.
I always see the report and I'm like, man, I wish I would have went to that. And I'm horrible at checking the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an email that goes out, I'm not on that list. Is there an email that goes out?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, sometimes they're in Key to the City, but it's not all library stuff. It should be. but it's not. But yeah, I can bring the calendar.
I'd just like one page of like next month's events or whatever.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions? All right, moving on to the Friends of the Library report.
All right. Good evening, Library Board. I'm Aaron Mellis, Friends of the Library Board member and current president. Financials, we haven't had any big changes since the last Library Board meeting. We're kind of in between book sales right now. Things that we've done. In April, we hosted our annual meeting, which was open to the public, where we gave an update on everything we've done, all things you guys have heard. And I'll just mention, in 2015, the Friends established the annual Teen Volunteer Award to recognize 2 teen library volunteers. The teen volunteers must be a junior or senior high school student in good standing, work at least 2 semesters as a regular volunteer at the library, and be recommended by library staff to the Friends as a recipient of the award. With the success in fundraising over the last year, we were able to give an additional award this year. This year's recipients were McKenna Barta, Chisholm Okaye, I hope I got that right, and Ozzy Stamey. So that was exciting. It's our favorite part of the year. The other big news I got about an hour and a half ago, the facilities committee that was reviewing the request for the renaming of the original wing of the library for Audrey T. Deering. They have recommended it be presented before City Council, and it's expected to be on the May 27th agenda as a public hearing. So if any of you want to attend, we're not trying to rename the library, just the original section over there for one of the founders. So 7 p.m., Justice Center, you guys have all been there. Our next book sale coming up on Friday, June 20th. The library is closed June 19th for Juneteenth. So the day after that, we will be here all day selling books. Come out and support us. Our next meeting, next week, May 20th at 4 p.m. here at the library. And as always, our meetings are open to all Friends members. Thank you for allowing me to give the report. Are there any questions, concerns, or communications you'd like me to give back to the Friends? Matt.
Go ahead.
What are your minimum and like maximum price ranges on that book sale, more or less?
Most everything is $1.
Okay.
And we don't go lower than that. Anything that is less than that, we say buy one, get this many free, and it's still $1. Most expensive thing is typically $5 for games. It'll be board games, video games, puzzles, which I have a request to lower that price. Occasionally, we will get in unusual items, like some of the e-readers. If they're nice enough, we might put a slightly higher price on it. Still reasonable. I think we sold them for 10 or 15 bucks for a couple Kindles last time. And we'll also have vintage books, which those we don't put a price on. We just set them out and tell people, give us an offer.
Yeah.
We don't say no. There's no offer. We refuse. So, and some of those people will pay the 20 and 100 bucks for them. So
That's great, thank you.
Yep. Matt.
Since the library is going to be closed on June 19th, are you setting up on the 18th?
So typical setup, we will do the hour before close the day before. So Wednesday night at 7 p.m., we're going to roll crates out, put tables up, and that's about it. It's the morning of the sale. 8:30, we have people come in to actually put out books. So
Wednesday, June 18th, at what time? What time does the library close? 6?
it closes at 8. So
8.
we're usually here at 7 p.m. making noise for that last hour.
And then for help setting up the morning of, arrive at what time?
8:30 a.m. on the day of the book sale. I'll be here. Jennifer or Daniel will be here to let us in. You just go to the front door if you want to help.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
All right, thank you guys.
Moving on to the legislation.
Okay, everybody's favorite. I only am going to talk about 3 bills today because these are the ones that are moving through the process. So House Bill 3225 is the act relating to the restriction of access by minors to sexually explicit materials in municipal public library collections. It does very vaguely define what they mean by sexually explicit, and I'll read that to you guys. So this bill establishes new regulations for municipal public libraries in Texas regarding sexually explicit materials accessible to minors. The bill defines sexually explicit materials excuse me, as content that explicitly describes or depicts sexual conduct, They don't say what type of sexual conduct, so, I don't know. Is it kissing? I don't know. And requires libraries to prevent minors from accessing such materials in sections designated for young people. Libraries must implement age verification measures, prohibit sexually explicit materials in minor-focused sections, and only allow minors to check out or view such materials with parental consent. The state library is tasked with establishing guidelines for libraries to annually review their collections. The bill imposes a civil penalty of up to $10,000 for each violation, enforceable by the Attorney General, and requires libraries to post public notices about their review process by March of 2026, with a comprehensive review of existing collections mandated by September 1st, 2027. Importantly, religious materials are exempt from these restrictions. Okay, so they kind of gave us some guidelines, but not really. They sort of put it off on the state library. So we will wait to see what the state library says. It looks like it doesn't really go into effect. Let's see. Because the way it's written, it could go into effect, but it doesn't say. But I'm going with September 1st, 2027. So that's a year, and that is another legislative cycle before it goes into effect. So, anything could happen. We do have to have a review process done by March 2026. I'm going to wait a little while to see what the state library has for guidelines. And then, I might be dragging some of the library board in. So, it's not, it's bad, but it's not horrible, I guess, because it's not going to happen on September 1st, 2026. And they did sort of define what they mean, but not completely.
One of the issues with that one is like half the books in the YA, have some kind of sexual sort of content. So are we talking about taking out half of that collection or not allowing teens? Like,
Yeah,
it's
and
a challenge.
what do they mean by sexually explicit?
Right.
Because some people think just having a gay character, when it doesn't
Yeah.
have anything to do with sexuality or sex or anything, would be considered explicit. So, again, until we know something more,
But sexual content in religious texts is okay.
yeah. So anyway, I'm sure we'll get people coming in and complaining. I doubt they will be from the community. The ones that we've had have not been from the community. I think that Pflugerville is a very well-educated community and gets what libraries are about. So, but I'm sure we will. And I anticipate that there will be, not necessarily from us, but this bill in general and one similar to it throughout the United States, will be challenged in the courts. So, good times ahead. Yay, party. Yeah.
Well, they're asking you to do awful lot more man hours and work. Are they gonna give you any kind of funding for that?
That is an excellent question. No, I've heard nothing about that. And as a matter of fact, they cut funding to public libraries by
So,
cutting
maybe-
IMLS.
Maybe this does go into effect, we can say, hey, can we get some funding for that and request funding? But otherwise, if maybe a way to get around it, if you had like the YA section and when somebody gets their library card, if they had an option to like check a box or have a parent
Parental consent.
check.
Yeah, we actually discussed that today because our integrated library system allows us to do that for Wi-Fi, like whether or not a kid can check out a Wi-Fi device. And I haven't talked to our library system people, but they're aware, that like everybody in the industry is aware. So yes, one of the things that we are going to talk to them about is a parental consent checkbox. That would automatically, because we're gonna have more self-check coming up and stuff like that. So if somebody with that card scanned it to check out a book that was not in their area, they would not, a thing would come up once they scan the book saying you can't check this out. And when parents are using their kids' card and trying to check out stuff for themselves, I'm sure they're not going to be happy about it. So that might put pressure on our.
I have an idea I'd like to share. Just, I know we might be jumping the gun because we still don't know what might happen. But would it be possible, and just a thought, to separate the YA Section 2 YA and maybe adult consented YA? Just an idea.
It is possible, but the space considerations are, it's not impossible. We would have to do a whole lot of Rubik's Cube type shifting around of stuff. But you know, that is something that we've considered also. The thing that I think is the most egregious is making people show their library card or their ID when they're going into a certain section of the library, because I feel like that is just very intrusive. And it is not the sort of environment that we want for our guests. So we want them to feel like they can come in and that this is all for them, and you know, because it is. But yeah, so we're still hammering out the details. You guys will definitely be involved in that because I need a lot of different perspectives. So yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions on 3225? Okay. SB 18, this is the drag bill. So this is one that will not allow, not just libraries that receive public funding, which most public libraries do. It won't allow us to have a drag queen story time. It would not let us use public funds for that, and it would not allow us to receive public funds at all if we did have that. They do define it out as specifically a drag queen story time, so I don't think that it would affect things where we have people come in costumes, you know, for events like our guests, because it does specifically say reading a story. And I don't remember if it said to minors or not.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Okay, so maybe we can have an adults only after hours drag queen story time. There, I'm sure will be other challenges and other court cases for this also. I don't think that's the end of it. And then, any questions on that one? No? Okay, SB 412 is the affirmative defense, and that is the one that will not allow us to use education as a reason for having a material in the library that somebody might consider. And I don't even know, because with 3225, it gets very muddled, because this one is more like obscene materials, period, and accessible to minors, I think, is in there too, period. So does that mean that the kid that has parental consent still can't check out a book that somebody would consider explicit? So that one's still really nebulous, but these three bills, I believe, are the ones that have passed both the House and the Senate, and will be moving on to, I think they've had most of their committee hearings too, so it's going to be moving on to action. Senate Bill 412 has gone to the governor. House Bill 3225 has gone to Government Affairs, so it's going to be hashed out on that one. And then SB 412 has also gone to Government Affairs Justice.
So SB 412, did they put that on the state library to define obscene materials again?
No, I didn't see anything about, and I apologize for not having the full text. I swore I printed it out, but I didn't, obviously. Okay, so no, it's not put on the state library, but it says in here that it removes the previous broad language about bona fide educational, medical, psychological, psychiatric, judicial, or law. and replaces it with more specific defense. Basically, it just crossed out the things like education and medical. So, and only can be used for, specifically for law enforcement and judicial reasons, limiting
So,
other broad interpretations of legitimate purposes.
I'm confused on like what kind of book that would be.
My fear is, we have medical encyclopedias and we have medical books like Gale Encyclopedia of Medicine that would maybe mention gender affirming care, and maybe that's unacceptable. So I don't know how far we're going with this.
Or even a book in the kids area that showed like an introduction to gender and
Yeah.
that has images. That could be a problem according to this.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it's just such a broad spectrum, and I don't think that's by accident. I think that by doing it like that, then they can do it on a case-by-case basis. So, and so until I know more, I'm not doing anything.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
When it says the bill is passed or dead, what does that mean?
A bill that is passed, it could mean a number of things. Either it's passed in that particular house, like passed in the House or passed in the Senate, because both sides will introduce bills. Sometimes they'll introduce basically the same bill with different numbers on it, and hoping that one of them gets pushed through. So a bill that is passed in the Senate then moves over to the House and vice versa. So a bill that is passed in the House then moves over to the Senate. And once they're passed, they can, they do a series of committee hearings, and then if it passes both, it goes to the governor, and the governor can sign it or not sign it. If it's left pending in committee, but had a favorable review, then it could still pass.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's very, I'm explaining it horribly, I'm sorry, but I'm just learning it myself. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot.
All right, thank you.
Yeah?
All right, Mr. Tong, that brings us to the student liaison report. Last month we reported the STAR testing and the AP exams were going on. Are you guys done with those?
Yeah, STAR tests are definitely done, AP exams and this week. And then, finals are coming up, and then school for us at Hendrickson ends on the 22nd. So,
You got any plans for the summer?
SAT prep, and that's it. But yeah,
All right, we'll take a break in there somewhere.
I will.
One thing to pass along, and y'all probably have this in your library too, is we have a number of practice tests online that students can do, including SAT and other college preparatory exams. So you can read the text of the book online, and you can take the practice tests online. So.
All right, does anybody have any questions or comments for Lucas?
I know we just mentioned a great resource for students. Is there anything that you feel that you may need for you or your other fellow students? Maybe like a list of resources that are available specifically for you guys, or just awareness?
I wouldn't say so. I would say, okay, these bills are really interesting. Every time I get these, I always read through. I don't know if there's a way to get these out there, but like this is really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of other students would be interested in knowing about this or seeing this.
If you have a civics class or a civics teacher, I'm sure, are mentioning Texas legislation.
Yeah.
I encourage people just to go to Texas Legislature Online. That's the official webpage. And then you can look, everything. You can watch the committee hearings. You can watch the committee meetings. You can, whatever you want to do. Read the minutes, read the text, read the actions. And I encourage people to do that because I feel like it's super important for people not to just listen to me. I could be wrong, or I could be nuts. It's debatable. But I think it's very important for people to form their own opinions, and that they need to read it for themselves and make their own educated opinion about these sort of things that are going to affect everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And if you want to look at just, like, if you want to start at finding just the library bills, there's a library bill tracker on TLA's, which is the Texas Library Association's website. And they also have stuff about school libraries, which isn't applicable to this, but would apply to you as a high school
Yeah.
student. So
Yeah, there's a lot for school libraries. And not just like elementary and high school, but higher education also. There's some that are going to affect city colleges like Austin Community College, and some that will even affect state libraries. So, yep.
All right, moving on to the marketing and outreach report.
So things are going pretty well. I've already been to at least 3 outreach events, I believe. It's been a busy week or so, and I've been really enjoying it. I have a couple, like one more career day. And I've also been ramping up social media promotion for the summer reading program, just to encourage people to not only just come to the events, which are always very fun and splashy, but also to participate in our reading challenge. So we have one for all ages and one for adults. So you guys as adults can participate in both. So if you're interested, you can like pick a team color, tell your friends if they know you're like super involved in the library. That would be awesome. And I've been trying to share that as well. And I also will be launching a campaign for our streaming service platforms, electronic resources. I'm sorry. That'll be actually be coming out tomorrow, and I'm hoping to boost that on Instagram and Facebook. So hopefully that will get some interest in people either who have cards and haven't been using our electronic resources to start using them, or maybe people who haven't been coming in or they don't have a card with us yet. Maybe they'll come in and get a card. But that's the idea, especially since people are working for ways to cut back. So I thought it might be very timely to remind people like, hey, you can watch movies on Canopy, or you could do workout classes on Hive Class, things like that. So yeah, that's mainly what's going on in my world. Just prepping for summer reading and things like that.
Can you explain the difference between Libby and Hoopla?
Yeah, so they're different platforms, and Libby primarily they have ebooks and then also audiobooks, and then Hoopla also has some other things. They have like movies and TV shows, and they have music, right? Yes, they also have music.
Comics. And there's a difference in the models. So Hoopla, we purchase basically into the giant collection that they offer, and then it's pay-per-use.
Okay.
Whereas Libby, we purchase individual copies.
Gotcha.
So you
Okay.
sometimes have to wait for items.
Okay, so if people are wondering, like if there's a book, someone's trying to get an ebook that they don't see in Libby, they should check Hoopla?
Yeah, and you can always, if there's an ebook that's not in Libby that you want, you can always request that, and we get most requests we fill.
Gotcha, okay, cool,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any movement on the mascot?
Not yet, but I need to set an appointment with our comms director. They recently hired an assistant director, which is awesome. So I'll try to see if he can come next month. I talked to them in a meeting about that last week.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, moving on to the 5-year plan discussion.
Okay, so we don't have any actionable items on the 5-year plan this week, but we did meet, and we have done some preliminary, just going through the first year and the previous year, because we have to report back how we fulfilled our goals from the previous year. So we've made little notations about that. We were kind of waiting on the legislations to see how we move forward, since now we can make an educated guess that, you know, these bills are going to pass, at least these 3. Then we can begin to build our goals going forward on, you know, how we're going to address this and still serve everybody in this community. So hopefully next month we'll have a lot more for you guys.
Okay, any questions? I did have one suggestion for new business, and you read my mind. So I was trying to figure out a way that maybe the library board could be more engaged with the summer reading program, because I know the summer reading program is a big thing. So, I mean, I always want to participate in the summer reading program, but I'm horrible at reading on a schedule. But I was thinking if the library board wanted to participate, completely optional, maybe we could, I don't know, I was trying to think of a way like saying, hey, my name's Matt, I'm on the library board, and join the purple team or whatever. These are the books I'm reading this month.
Yeah, that'd
Something
be
like
great.
that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I was just trying to figure out, and I wanted to shoot it to you guys to see what you thought and see if you guys had any ideas on how to put us out there. Because like we're not famous or anything, but we are on the library board, so we're like leaders in the community for the library. And you know, hey, our library board member is these people, and they're reading these books. So I was trying to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and maybe y'all would want to do something for Banned Book Week, which is end of September, I think.
I think so, yes.
End of September, beginning of October.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'll definitely chew on that and then we can definitely email back and forth, come up with some ideas and see what you guys are interested in, what you feel comfortable with. Like, for example, if you don't want to do a video, maybe we could do like a text post or something.
Or even something like on the TV where it flashes like, hey,
Yeah.
this board member is on this team for the summer book challenge
Yeah.
and reading this book.
Yeah, and that could
Something
be
simple
fun.
as that.
Yeah, especially since you get to pick what color you're on and stuff, so it could be like a fun, I'm not saying, if y'all could pick your own color organically, but like if, for example, if each of y'all happen to pick one of the 4 teams, I could be like, oh, this board member's on this team, this board member's on this team, but, yeah.
I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely
Good
speak on
idea.
it and email y'all.
Yeah, well, if maybe we can put it on the agenda for next month to
Yeah.
talk about it, and we can work on ideas and if we want to implement that. Does anybody have any else new business or anything they want to talk about next month? All right, if we don't have anything else, I
I think we have 5B, Steve,
5B.
library policies.
I don't
think
have
we
a
were,
5B on here.
I have it on here.
It may not have made it to the one online.
Yeah, you've got the same printout as I do. Chelsea was missing the marketing outreach
Oh,
report.
right. I thought we were bringing back library policies to.
Yeah, since it didn't make it to the online one, we have to,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Okay, I think,
That's weird, because I actually printed this from, does everybody else have this one?
This was the one from what you mailed out, emailed out.
Okay.
I got the one with 5B on it.
I don't have 5B.
I don't have
That's
5B.
Okay, I don't have it either, so we're gonna move that to next.
You're right,
Yeah.
you're right.
They will,
That was the previous one.
policies will wait.
all right, well, if we don't have anything else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I second that motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, and second. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. We'll see you guys next month.